Hey guys, what is up? Ninja here. Back again after a very, very long break. And today we're going to be talking about Magika Warden. So, I guess just a quick channel update, really quickly, which people probably don't care about. But I did take a break from the game, school, work, etc., etc. But when I did come back, I wanted to try something new, something I hadn't tried before, because I was playing a lot of Stamina Warden, a lot of Stamina Nightblade, you know, just Magic and Nightblade. Magika Sork, so I wanted to come back and do something different. I tried Magika Warden, and I threw on a couple different builds, and it's actually really, really good this patch. So we'll go. I'm still in the process of learning it. I've been playing it for about a week and a half, but I've been playing the game forever, so I know how to build properly. But yeah, so this is basically going to just go over everything that I've learned about Stamina Warden so far, and it's kind of like a progression video. I'll show you the sets that I'm running, the skills and why, the race, etc., etc., and then we'll go over some clips at the end. So, yeah, let's just get right into it. Don't be alarmed, I don't have a tail, I know. And I'll give a pretty good reason for that. So I guess the most striking thing would just be the race. What is the best race on Magika Warden? Argonian. Hands down, there's not going to be anything better than Argonian. And if you want to play a Magika Warden, I would definitely suggest going Argonian. I just don't like tails. So I went with Breton. I like the maxes, the resistances are nice, and the cost reduction means that I could also run heavy, as opposed to like High Elf, which those passives of recovery don't really scale that well in heavy. So, yeah. Play what you want. Magic Race is going to be good. Argonian is going to be the best. Let's go over the skills. So the skill bar setup on the Warden is kind of different because there's a lot of different things that you can run that would be good. And they're also kind of crowded, and it's going to be very setup dependent. So the skill bars that you have on the Warden, like on Nightblade, you kind of have a universal setup of skills that will work with any setup or any build. On the Warden, you really want to have your skill bar set up to compensate and synergize with your build well, which is why we have the skills that we have here, and I guess we'll explain more once we show you the build. But yeah, so for now, Blue Betty Netch, obviously everybody knows, it's a nice little cleanse, a lot of recovery. We have Frost Cloak, where we're getting our, I guess if you don't know so Betty Netch, Recovery, Frost Cloak, where we're getting our resistances and minor protection, just an insane buff. And this is part of the reason that we can actually build without having a defensive set. Defensive sets are really good this patch, and it's definitely viable to go with a defensive set, but this build doesn't have one, and this is one of the reasons we can build without a defensive set. At least a defensive 5-piece. Lotus Blossom, it's a good burst heal. It's our source of Major Prophecy since we don't have Mage Light on. So you have to have either this or Mage Light or be running pots, but I choose this because of the heal. And it's a lot of healing over time, which is nice, but it's also a heal on your heavy attacks, which for this build, running Sword and Board is really important because you only have a 12.6k pool, and this character actually doesn't have Daunted, so that goes up to like probably around 13.4. But we only have a 12k stamina pool right now, so we have to heavy attack a lot to get our stamina back, especially after dodge rolling, because you're going to be dodge rolling and blocking a lot when you're trying to X and kite. So heavy attacking is very important, but heavy attacking takes time, and that's time that we could be casting other abilities and healing. So Lotus Blossom just gives us a little bit of synergy in the way that we can heavy attack and heal at the same time instead of having to choose one or the other. And also gives us a nice burst heal. We have Harness Magika. This is an insane amount of recovery. I wouldn't suggest going with the other morph, and you'll see in the clips later, like, this build over sustains in 1vx situations because of this. A lot of time if you're kiting, you're just literally going to be switching between hitting vines and hitting your shield, right? Because your shield's just getting stripped and you're getting a lot of Magika back, right? But doing that is actually getting you Magika back, whereas if you have Absorb Magika, you're just going to be dumping magic and you're going to be out really quickly. But against stamina classes, the sustain does kind of hurt, which is why we have such high recovery. But yeah, in general, this is a nice shield to go with. Living Trails is your heal over time, and your burst heal. It's a lot of healing. Keep it up basically always, and when you need a burst heal, just hit the button once, or heavy attack into Living Tendrils. So yeah. After that, obviously Northern Storm is our ulti on both bars. The passives are nice for this, and it's 8% free max mag. And our front bar. So we aren't running a Master Staff, so we have to have Cliff Racer here. It's going to be a source of a lot of our It's going to be our main DPS spammable. Shock Lunch is going to be our CC, which you do need. Petrify Infection, just the heaviest hitting dot on the game, like it's just insane, especially on that second cast when you're having like a 30k plus tooltip. It just hits like a truck. It's nice to throw on like the squishiest person or maybe the healer, unless they're a Templar, in which case you don't want to do that because it's gonna get cleansed. But yeah, so if you're gonna burst somebody down, usually you want to have this on them before you go in to start bursting in group, and we'll talk more about that in a second. Deep Fissure, this tooltip buffed up goes up to 16.2, which is relatively low considering what this build can hit. Once you have your Undaunted, that goes up to about 17k. And if you switch off of one of the spell damage glyphs, that goes up even higher, or one of the spell recovery glyphs. So that can definitely go higher, but right now we just have it low because this character doesn't have Undaunted. Obviously, Bird of Prey, this is Major Expedition, and even though it is just a small source of Major Expedition, it is nice to have. Because this is just going to get you from point A to B faster, and you see me using it a lot. When I first started playing with it, I made the mistake of just throwing this on my bar and never touching it, but you're going to want to use this to just kite around because you don't have a source of root or CC immunity, or snare removal, soft CC immunity, other than like Betty Netch, which is like one, just one at a time. So Betty Netch, spam Betty Netch, definitely viable, but you want to be in the right situation to do that, and I wouldn't suggest to do that too often. So you have to have a good source of mobility, and obviously it's Minor Berserk, which is an absurd amount of damage. So yeah, let's get into the build. So this is what we're running so far. Is this the best Magika Warden build out there? 1vx monster, invincible, unkillable, god tier? No. It is what I've found to be the best and what I personally like the most, because I didn't want to compromise damage or sustain for survivability, and I also do just enjoy playing with this bar setup, so I don't really want to use the Master Staff, but you can definitely build there's a billion different ways you can build the Magika Warden. This is just what I like playing with. So we've got front bar, Necropotence. We're running Sharpened. That might actually change pretty soon here, and which is also part of why our tooltips are so low. But we're running Sharpened, which might actually change because Nirnhone, I have a little bit of testing to do, but I'm pretty sure Nirnhone is going to affect the heal that you get from tendrils on your front bar, so feel free to go with Nirnhone. Once again, things that I've learned, not a complete build video. So yeah, that might change in the final build. We've also got back bar, Stone Board Necro. You could use Sturdy, you could use Impen, you could even use like Well Fitted. There's a lot of different things. We have a Magika glyph here because of our heals. We want higher heals. We want to make sure that that shield stays capped out as our health gets higher, just in case. But yeah, it's nice for the heals, and realistically, you don't want your health to change when you go on your back bar, because that's just going to put you further in execute. And you also don't want I mean, the extra stamina is nice, but it goes away in your front bar, so it's kind of situational. The magic is just kind of universal, and it's going to help your heals, so that's why we have that there. Next set, we're running Blood Spawn 2-piece, and we want to switch this to Inferno Stuff of Necropotence. But yeah, we're running Blood Spawn 2-piece. In group play, that can switch to Balrogs, which is really, really good, just a lot of damage. But in solo, you want this because it's 10% damage reduction, it's nearly 10% damage mitigation. I guess, like, yeah, right about there, and it's also an insane amount of ultimate regeneration. This is proccing every 6 seconds. You're having, I know the chance looks low, but you have dots on you, you're getting light attack. The dude, off to the side, hitting light attacks with his bow, he's proccing this for you, so this is going to stay up 100% of the time. Obviously, both Impen, and this is a 5-1-1 setup, and we have it triglyphed. Next set is Bright Throats. This is going to give us a lot of sustain and a lot of maxes, really, and I just kind of wanted to build the play around the maxes and see how it goes. And it does end up working out. You do have to run Witch Mothers, which is the one negative part about this build, and the one drawback, because having to run Witch Mothers means you have to lose a lot of max stats going into Triglyphs and Triune, because you need that maximum stamina if you're going to be surviving in open world. So with a different setup, if you switch this out for Shacklebreaker or Amberplasm, you might end up losing a little bit of damage, but you get some of that back with by being able to run Trifoods, or maybe not even having to with Shacklebreaker. I've tested both the setups, or all three of the setups. I've crunched the numbers. This is still the best one that I can find. But if you do need more max stam, if you want to go up to a 17k stam pool, you can switch Bright Throws out for Shacklebreaker and run with Triglyphs. You're just gonna have to switch to some spell damage or spell recovery, one more spell recovery glyph, and just try to sustain with it. You might even have to switch your stone. But yeah, neither here nor there. So yeah, we got Bright Throat, Shackle, Bright Throw, Necropotence, and Bloodspawn. Bloodspawn changes to Balrogs in group play. And we have 3 triglyphs on, the big pieces, and then we're also running triune traits. These are going to be purple later, just a pain in the ass to farm out and find them. So, but yeah, so triune traits, 2 spell damage, 1 recovery glyph. You can always run with another spell damage glyph because our spell damage goes up to 1800 on this build, which is a lot on a Warden. You can definitely go down to 1600. I just like having the 1800 because when I'm stuck in a situation where I'm not taking a lot of magic damage, I'm only getting hit by stamina classes. The resources are nice. So yeah, buffed up. You see our pseudo Vivek. Can't even cancel my buffs. On the front bar, we're up at 3k resist, almost 2.3k spell damage. That maximum Magika will go up to around 45.5k with Undaunted. Our maximum health goes up to about 26k, 27k with Undaunted, but it's at 25k right now. Maximum stam 12.6, goes up higher with Undaunted. And we also have our spell critical, which goes up to about 39%, which is really nice to have. You want that spell critical because that's going to be affecting your heals and basically all your damage. And the stats and tooltips might look low. And that's mainly because we have Sharp and not Neuron. But even still, we're getting really high tooltips. We're getting a lot of sustain, a lot of survivability. So front bar stats right here, back bar stats right here, and the resistances might look low, but this is with Bloodspawn, and Bloodspawn isn't procced. So obviously, just add 6k to these resistances, and they go up to like 27k spell resist, 21k physical resist on our front bar, and you go up to 24k physical resist and about 30k spell resist or 29k spell resist on your back bar. So you are pretty tanky with this build on, but it definitely does focus more on sustaining and putting out a lot of damage. So this is the build as of now. It's definitely subject to change. I might even switch like all the sets completely, but this is just what I've been playing with. And I guess we'll just switch right to the clips and show you what I've learned defensively. So yeah. Alright, so now we're in post, just going to be looking over a few clips. First we're going to show like a small little 1vx clip, and then a couple of group play clips to see how you can see how it plays in different situations. In all these scenarios, it's the same build. I might have changed like a glyph or two since these, but I am using like the same sets for sure. So I drop down after kiting the tower and getting their attention. I have my ulti, so I know I'm about to go in. I see the negate, I pop my ult. He drops, and I get another shocks on. Usually you can get 2 bursts of shocks off, so once I get that second one off, I know that I should start dipping even though my ulti is still up. It's Vivek, so I can't pop abilities. But yeah, so I pop my shocks, or at least try to, and it's just going to go in a fast, quick motion because a lot of this is just kind of useless stuff. Me playing neutral, so I hear a werewolf here, so I know he's going to come in. I hear his little howl, so I start cutting up to the top. I'm honestly just waiting for more to come. At first I thought he was going to do like a 1v1 thing, so I'm like, okay, then I see his friend, and his other one, so I start kind of kiting around. And I have my ulti here, so I bait them in, and I come in here. The shocks go off, and one of them drops down. This guy would have died, but he kind of has a good sense to drop off. And I make a mistake there. Instead of just switching to the next guy, I don't chase. And you can see one of the mistakes I have in this gameplay in general is I don't keep Fetrify up, like at all. It's such an insane dot, and you have to have it up on something. Like one of the biggest things when it comes to playing offensive I've been trying to work on is making sure I'm choosing a target when I go in with my AoE burst to just focus with my birds and my fetcher. So that's something you don't see me doing here. This is a clip from earlier, but it's something you don't see me doing here. It's something that I should be doing. So we kite around, play a little dance in the tower, and they start kind of running off. So I actually chase these guys through the forest and get a couple decide to fight.
It's just me.
So this guy, low CP, obviously is going to be like my first target. I actually get Fetrify on him there. Oh, and I think he's still trying to run away. Probably a bad idea on his part. He just kind of falls over. This dude's also low CP. So I guess I just get the guys with all the slow mount speed.
Yo, y'all are actually
if I wasn't taking a whole lot of pressure in this situation, maybe I'll add a clip of like me being able to kite out a lot of players. So I focus him because I know he's going to be the most problematic. He was a werewolf from earlier, and he has like 30k health. So I just focus him down, keep my fetcher on him, and my shocks up. once he falls over, I know it's going to be pretty easy. I'm out of Magika, so I pop a trash pot
class.
to get it back up.
What are you doing? No.
And going on him. Yeah, he was just rezzing him. He kind of falls over. He pops his world.
No, okay, I see you.
I'm just cutting around the tree. At this point, these guys have like little to no pressure. He's still going for the res for whatever reason, but they have little to no pressure and they're super squishy, so these two are just kind of easy to kill. It's not really that hard. This isn't like a crazy, insane 1vx clip, but you saw earlier just how to play defensively when you go.
Hold up, wait for it.
When to not go in. This guy takes a...
And my first official 1vx
he eventually goes down. And you usually should be canceling your abilities, but this is shore, so we don't do that here. We're not shore Vivek. So these ones are in shore. This is like a group play clip. We decided to kite back because it's just a lot of pressure. There's a ton of them. I'm playing with a Magika Templar, a Stamina Warden, and myself, so who's a Magic Warden. So I go in with my Magika ulti. Unfortunately, they don't drop. At this point, we assess that they have a healer. So the Stamina Warden is going to be kind of searching for him while we take a lot of pressure. I'm getting hit, so I'm gonna kite off in just a moment here.
I felt that.
Just gonna watch things happen. So this is something that you can do. A lot of people like to stay together in group, and it's super important that you do a lot of the time, just kiting together. But you also do. Sometimes you do want to split up the pressure, especially when it's a smaller group like this. So we kind of opt to do that. He's taking care of those guys over there, our Stamina Warden. And I'm about to have my ulti up while these guys are just kind of down, so it's kind of an easy wipe from there. These guys just get really low and fall over really quickly. But yeah, so kite, shocks, permafrost, and just kind of go in. After that guy falls over even after his tether ult. And yeah, just a small little group wipe there. A lot of the work done was definitely Samurai who was taking out over here, but this is a good clip to show defensive play. Defensive play with the pocket healer. Our Magika Warden, our Magika Templar is kind of healing by throwing out breath of lives, but he is built for tanking and DPS. So I pop my ulti here just to stay alive, really. We do burst a couple down, and you see it's just kind of backing off from line of sight, trying to kite them off of the tower. We had been wiping these guys for a while, and finally they just kind of reorganize and start coming at us in a group. So I'm getting spam sniped here. So I'm going to have to play defensively. You see how high my Magika pool is staying because of that Absorb Magika shield. We decided to go in here and kill a couple. But they, once again, still have a healer, so we need to back off and kite them out a little bit longer. I have no stamina to CC break. Thank God I have my Magika Templar. And that's one of the rules you should be abiding by, especially on this build. If you have a sword board, every time you dodge roll, every time you CC break or block a lot and your stam pool gets low, you want a heavy attack. So finally we get them into this position where it's going to be a little bit easier. They go in with their ultis, and I have a subterranean to proc on that, and then right after I kind of come into to clean up with my Arctic Wind ulti, which does end up doing a lot of the damage as well. So yeah, right as they said they had their ultis and they wanted to go in, and I didn't have an ulti up, so I just procced my subterranean and said that would be enough. So yeah, subterranean proc there and kind of help mop. So yeah. So yeah, overall this is just a very brief overview of kind of how to play it and what I've learned so far about it. This is like midway there. I think it's going to be another like week or two before I get it and we're going to see a final build come out. But yeah, so that's about it for now. But yeah, we do have more videos coming out on the horizon, not just Magden stuff. A couple more clips since then for the Magden 1VX, which we'll probably put up in a few days. We also have a commentary video about the whole heavy armor debacle right now, so we got some stuff coming out, and stay tuned. Thanks guys.